Of all the phs/f/ words, is there a reason why only Sapphire and Sappho have pph? We've discussed ph apostrophe equals /f/ a few times, but I don't believe this has come up before. Plenty of words have ph from the Greek 5 via Latin, but only Sapphire, Sappho and obvious derivatives have pph, with any pronunciation according to this regex dictionary. Wikipedia has sigma alpha pi phi epsilon iota rho omicron sigma as the Greek for sapphire, transliterated to Sapphairos, and sigma alpha pi phi, Attic, or psi pi phi omega, Ialic, for Sappho. There appears to be no etymological link between the two, and in both cases the first p is silent, or if you prefer, the pi is silent. Is it just coincidence that of the hundreds of words in which phi became ph, the only two containing pi phi start sigma alpha/sa? The discussion in my first link, and the APA for sigma alpha pi phi at Wikipedia suggests that the pi might not have affected the pronunciation in the Greek either. So, is it just coincidence that of the hundreds of words in which phi became ph, the only two containing pi phi start sigma alpha/sa? Or has English dropped the pi in a lot of other words?
I don't know of any word where pph has been replaced with ph. The fact that we only have Sapphire and Sappho, both starting with sa, and of course related words and names such as Sapphic/Sapphic, Sapphira, seems to be a coincidence. It seems this was a rare sequence of sounds in Greek, like the tth of Matthew. Neither occurs, as far as I can think, in any native Greek words, only in borrowings. Janus Bars Jacquet, May 24 at 10:09. In Greek, the pi is not silent. In modern Greek, the sequence pi phi would be pronounced /pf/. You can hear this in Jovanak's pronunciation of sigma alpha pi phi on Forvo. Ancient Greek is thought to have had aspirated consonants and doubled or long, geminate, consonants in some contexts. The ancient pronunciation of pi phi is, as Janus says, reconstructed as something like /p.ph/, distinct from singleton phi/ph/. The pronunciation of Piri 22b on Forvo seems to be aimed towards this /p.ph/ realization. I'm not an expert, but my impression is that in ancient Greek, aspiration contrasts were mostly neutralized for plosives that came before other obstruents. The neutralized sound could be written in various ways, some of which were probably conventional. For example, when the second consonant was an aspirated plosive, the first seems to have also generally been written with a letter for an aspirated plosive, hence the common occurrence in English words of Greek origin of sequences like phdh and chdh, when the second consonant was the fricative /s/, the special letters psi and xi were used, and so on. It seems that /p.ph/ and /t.th/ were usually written as pi phi and tau theta respectively, but the alternative spellings phi phi and theta theta were also possible in some eras. History of the Greek alphabet. By Evangelinus Apostolides Sophocles, 1848. Maybe they represented a difference in pronunciation as well, or maybe not. In Greek, generally the letters phi, ph, theta, th, and chi, sach, were used to transcribe Hebrew, pf, t/th, and k/kh, respectively, or the corresponding sounds in a similar Semitic language such as Aramaic. This is a simplification, but I can't give a more nuanced description because I'm not an expert. Side note about something that can cause a bit of confusion: Hebrew has rules assigning a fricative pronunciation to some of these letters in certain contexts, and a plosive pronunciation in other contexts. The precise rules are a bit different and apply to different letters in different varieties of Hebrew. The Greek transliteration generally is not at all related to this phenomenon in Hebrew. The letters phi theta chi may correspond to Hebrew plosives as well as Hebrew fricatives. The explanation I've seen for the Greek transcription system is that even the plosive allophones of the corresponding Hebrew consonants were aspirated, making them match better to Greek phi theta chi than Greek pi tau kappa. Greek tau kappa were the standard equivalents to Hebrew t, formerly contrastively emphatic compared to, and probably unaspirated, and qk, formerly uvular or emphatic, and probably unaspirated. See the answer on linguistics. Say to why was the name transliterated as theta omega mu sigma, Thomas, rather than tau omega mu sigma, Thomas. The sequence pi phi was used in Greek to represent geminate or double-length Hebrew/Aramaic, pp. But there are not many words with this sound that were loaned from Hebrew/Semitic to Greek, and then brought into English. Sapphire is one, Wiktionary says. Borrowing from Old French Sapphire, from Latin sapphire, sapphire, sapphirus, from ancient Greek sigma pi phi epsilon iota rho omicron sigma, Sapphiros, precious stone, gem, from a Semitic language, compare Hebrew, Sapphire. Another example, that is an obscure name, is Jonathan Aphos. Wikipedia says Hebrew, Ancient Greek, Omega Nu Theta Alpha Nu Pi Phi Omicron Sigma. Jonathan Maccabeus on Jewish Encyclopedia says Syriac, which looks a bit closer to Pi Phi Omicron Sigma going by the little I know of the Hebrew alphabet. I have no idea where Sappho comes from, but as you say, there appears to be no etymological link, so it seems extremely doubtful that the similarity to the start of Sapphire is anything but a coincidence. If anyone knows, please post the answer to the following linguistics say post, 2 questions about Sappho's name. The modern English pronunciation can probably be explained by considerations within the sound system and orthographic system of English. The sound sequence /pf/ is awkward, and in many cases doubled letters are pronounced the same as single letters in English, so there's no strong pressure from the orthography to use /pf/ rather than /f/.
If you want to support the channel, please consider subscribing.